Do you love indie games and JRPGs? Well, my friend, then you're in the right place, because in this video, I'll be sharing 25 upcoming indie JRPGs that you're gonna absolutely love. Now, you guys loved my last video on indie JRPGs, so I had to make a follow-up. And as a reminder, the best way you can support these games is by wishlisting them, as it really gives them a huge boost in visibility. On top of this, two of the games in this video, Infinity Knights Cross and Tako no Himitsu Ocean of Secrets, are in the middle of their Kickstarter campaigns, so be sure to check those out if you want to help them get fully funded. And one last thing, most of these games are going to be PC only unless I specify otherwise. Now, don't click away, because quite a few of the games in this video are coming to consoles, yes, even Nintendo Switch. First up, we have Anima Song from the Abyss. This is a third-person action RPG set in a huge, beautiful world with a cool anime-inspired art style, and I think its standout feature is its slick-looking action combat. Now, in the game, you have two characters, and you can swap back and forth between them on the fly, and the game gives me a lot of Tales of vibes. Every time I see this game, I get super excited and I just want to play it. And lucky for you guys, it's coming out on all platforms sometime in the future. For you Mega Man Battle Network fans out there, I got something just for you called Card-en-Ciel. It's a deck building RPG adventure with roguelike elements. And it's funny that I mentioned Mega Man, because this is the same team Inti Creates that made Mega Man 9 and 10. And Inti Creates is a super quality developer, so I trust that they're going to make something great here. And this is probably the only game on this list that has a solid date of October 24th, and it'll be coming to all platforms. Colossus Eternal Blight is a top-down action RPG inspired by Ys and Zelda. It has fast, fun-looking action combat with tons of special abilities, not to mention some great-looking pixel art, everything from the characters, the enemies, the spell effects, and the environments. It also seems to have a pretty compelling story of looking for your lost brother. Now, I've been following this game for a long time, and every time they post a new clip on Twitter, I get more excited to play it, so I hope they finish it up, because I just want to play it. DeathTower is a tactical RPG with roguelike elements, and it has an awesome pixel art style with a really cool cyberpunk vibe. Essentially, you're just trying to scale the titular Death Tower, and to me, its most unique feature is that you can hack the tower itself for unique attacks. On top of your traditional tactical RPG combat, you can use the environment to your advantage to pull off some really cool moves. And with this being a roguelike, it could make for some really cool scenarios. And I love me some tactical RPGs, especially ones with unique environmental aspects, so I'm really curious to give this one a try. Echoes of the Stars is a 2.5D hand-painted action RPG. It has some really sick-looking combat with two characters that you can swap between on the fly. One's a sword user and one is a bow user. And I don't know, I just really love the vibe of this game. It kind of reminds me of more indie Odin Sphere or Vanillaware type games. Not to mention, it has mini games, which I love. And what's cool is it has a playable demo that you can try right now, and it's set to release in Q4 of 2024. Heavily inspired by the PS1 era of JRPGs, Full Circle is a classic-looking adventure set in a sci-fi world where you can explore tons of mysterious worlds. And to me, what really grabbed me about this game, and I'm sure will be the same for you, is its incredible art style. Every time they post a clip, I just want to see more and just explore every inch of this world. And speaking of exploring, it seems to have a huge world map with an airship, so for all of you that love classic throwback JRPGs with world maps, you're going to get it here. And they haven't shown much of the combat, but it does seem to be turn-based, and you can have 4 characters at any given time, and it's probably one of the top 5 games on this list that I'm most excited to play. Do you love Game Boy Advance era Fire Emblem games? Then Gales of Nayeli is for you. It's a classic strategy RPG with some great sprite works, and the battles seem to be pretty large scale as your squad looks pretty large. And the things that really stood out to me from the trailers were that it had some cool environmental interactions where you could like hop on ballistas and shoot at enemies, as well as abilities that I've never really seen before, like this one where you can kind of teleport through the wall. And what's nice is it does have a demo that you can try, so if this looks interesting to you at all, definitely give it a try. Geo Mythica is an 8-bit style JRPG set in 1990s Earth. It's a cool mix of strategic and real-time combat, and it has some pretty unique dungeon mechanics. Like there's this one I saw where the character turned on the light and these cockroaches went scattering. It seems really quirky and cool. Not to mention a huge world to explore, and being set in 90s Earth is pretty interesting, so I'll be really curious to see what those environments are like. And everything they've shown in the trailer seems to be oozing with charm, so if you love classic style JRPGs, this is one that you probably want to check out. Glitched is an absolutely wild looking game. I mean, just listen to this description from their Steam page. When a glitch appears in the video game world of Soren, an NPC named Gus becomes aware of you, the player. Travel together to solve a mystery of the glitch and save Gus's friends, hometown, and digital world. As the story unfolds, Gus might start to question what role you play in his world. And it's also giving me major Earthbound and Undertale vibes, so if any of this sounds interesting to you, you probably want to wishlist it. Anyone out there miss co-op RPGs? Then you probably want to check out Godshard Godshard Chronicles. It's a gorgeous looking pixel action RPG inspired by Zelda, Secret of Mana, and Grandia. Speaking of Grandia, the music in this game is composed by Noriyuki Iwadare, the composer for Langrisser, Lunar, and the Grandia series. Now it's planned for release on all platforms, so if this looks cool at all to you, make sure you wishlist it. The latest in the Grey Heritage tactical RPG series, Grey Heritage Noble Duty, is set to release in Q1 of 2025. It's obviously inspired by the GBA era Fire Emblem titles, and what I like about it is not only does it have really great character designs and pixel work, but it's going to be on the shorter side, like 10 to 15 hours. So for those of you that don't want a giant epic, but love your tactical games and want to play something quality, this might be one for you. From the team that brought you Giraffe and Anika comes HARUKA Beyond the Stars. It's described as a juvenile sci-fi RPG. In the game, you'll explore various planets, fight in real-time action combat, and swap between the two different protagonists who each have their own unique combat style. And speaking of style, the art style here is very cute, very charming. It kind of gives me Ni no Kuni vibes. It just seems so lighthearted and happy, and sometimes JRPGs can be a little grim and dark, so it's nice to have something a little bit more lighthearted. And I'm looking forward to trying this out next year. And another great couch co-op RPG coming out is Infinity Knights Cross. Now, the thing about this game is that you can play with up to 3 players in co-op. It has great pixel work and super cool looking hack and slash action combat. And it seems to have a pretty intriguing story of struggling with the idea of being eternal. Now, the music is composed by Secret of Mana composer Hiroki Kakuta, and they've already blasted through their initial Kickstarter goals, but as of the recording of this video, their Kickstarter is going on for a little while longer. So if you want to help them hit their stretch goals, be sure to check out their Kickstarter, and they're also aiming to release this on all consoles. Last Moon is a 90s inspired co-op action RPG, and what's cool is you can equip different runes to your different characters for some really unique builds. But to me, what really grabbed my attention was its breathtaking art style. I was just in awe every time I saw it, everything from its animations to its sort of like ambient glow of everything and its bold colors. It just looks incredible. On top of all this, it's filled with puzzles, fun looking bosses, and hand animated cutscenes. So when it drops in 2025, I'm definitely going to be all over it. If you love 16-bit JRPGs, then Legends of Astravia is the game for you. It has incredible pixel art, a unique take on turn-based combat, and promises fun dungeon crawling and exploration. And what I like too is it's also on the shorter side. They're claiming it's going to be 10 to 20 hours of just core content. So for anybody that likes those classic experiences but don't want to dump a ton of time into a game, then this is one you want to keep your eye on. And what's cool is it does have a demo that you can try today, and it's set to release in early 2025. Legends of Starkadia is easily one of the coolest looking games in this video. It's a very quirky turn-based sci-fi RPG oozing with charm from the characters, enemies, and art style. Now you have 12 different characters that you can use in your party, and you have 9 planets to explore. I'm just loving the vibe of this game. All the character designs are so cool. I just love when games do something a little bit more unique. Now the team is promising a demo to come this summer, as well as a Kickstarter that they're going to launch next year. So if you want to stay up to date, be sure you follow them on Twitter and wishlist the game. Easily the most big budget game on this entire list is Lost Hellden. This is the team behind Super Neptunia RPG and Astria Ascending, and the art style here is just super cool. It's kind of a mix between watercolor and a hand-painted look. Throughout the trailers, as the characters are exploring environments, it feels like they're just exploring a living painting. It looks incredible. And it also has a really cool battle system mixing real-time and turn-based elements. And speaking of famed composers, Hitoshi Sakamoto of Tactics Ogre, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Valkyria Chronicles fame is going to be composing the music for this one. Every time I see it, it just looks better and better, and it's set to release in 2025 on all platforms. Lumentale Memories of Trey is a gorgeous looking monster collecting RPG. It has a really cool mix of pixel art and 3D environments with some really vibrant colors that I just want to explore every inch of. Now what's neat about this game is not only does it have turn-based combat, but your monsters can fight in 4v4 battles, which I've never really seen in a Pokemon game or any other kind of monster collecting RPG. Now there's also this yo-yo-like tool called a Holokin that seems to be pretty central to the gameplay. You use it in a variety of different ways, from initiating combat to different puzzles, so I'll be really curious to see how they use that mechanic. And I always love unique takes on this subgenre, so I'm looking forward to whenever they want to show more, and it is planned to release on all consoles. Maliki Poison of the Past is a wacky time travel RPG. It has a charming cast of characters, and you'll be taking on this time manipulating menace called Poison. And what's interesting is it seems like time seems to be a component of combat as well. The Steam page says you can basically throw enemies to and from the past, so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work in combat itself, but it sounds cool. Not to mention it has a really unique, cool, and quirky art style and some awesome hand-drawn animated cutscenes. Apparently this was also originally based on a graphic novel Tales series. So if you want to get into that, or if this game just looks cool, definitely check it out when it releases sometime soon. Now with Neon Blood, I'm probably stretching what can be considered an RPG, but this game just looks so cool that I wanted to talk about it. Now it's a 2.5D pixel art adventure set in a gorgeous cyberpunk world. In the game, you play as a detective looking to upend a corrupt city. It's basically split down the middle in two districts, where it's the rich versus the downtrodden. It's very atmospheric, and you'll be doing detective-focused gameplay and engaging in turn-based combat. Every time I see a new trailer, I just want to be in this world, explore every inch of it, and discover all its mysteries. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's coming to all platforms sometime soon. Probably the most unique game on this entire list is Pillory. It's described as a surreal RPG set in a forgotten afterlife. In the game, you'll encounter all kinds of odd allies and enemies. And these characters hate living there, love living there, or just are kind of indifferent to it. And the description says it has mood-based combat. Basically, you'll have to pick emotions as you're engaging with different enemies, and the combat is all about managing your mood so you don't get too extreme one way or another. Not to mention, it has a really wild visual style. I love when games just go off the wall and try something unique, and this game does have a playable demo, so if you want to give it a go, you can try it today. If you love classic dungeon crawlers, then Scarmonde is for you. It's an 8-bit style dungeon crawler with 12 classes, and you'll be exploring the depths for the Dragon God's sacred treasures. Now, while it does have an old look, it promises modern conveniences. And for those of you that want little to no story, it promises that it won't have much. It's more about the gameplay than the story. And once again, it does have a free demo available to try, and it's set to launch this year. Described as a comedic yet serious RPG, SerialWorld looks like an early level 5 game. Everything from the music, the character designs, and its overall charm. In the game, you'll play as Milo, traveling to a fantastical town to uncover its mysteries. The game has turn-based combat with some deck-building elements. And throughout your adventure, you'll encounter super quirky and fun characters from zombies, a donut, and a guitar-playing teddy bear. And in my last video, a lot of people complained that I didn't have very many games from actual Japanese teams, but if it wasn't obvious, this is from a homegrown Japanese team, and I love that there's these indie-style JRPGs still being made over there. And we'll probably have to wait a little bit longer, as right now it's set for a release in winter 2025. Tactics Returners is a 90s inspired tactical RPG. It has everything from great level design, art style, and combat. Now, one cool feature is it has this burst gauge, and when you initiate it, it gives you the edge in different situations by enhancing certain abilities or giving them extra permutations. And it's also one of the only games on this list that I've actually played. And let me tell you, if you love games like Final Fantasy Tactics, you're going to want to keep your eye on this game because I had a blast with it. Now, unfortunately, it's the only game on this list that I'm aware of that doesn't have a Steam page yet. However, if you want to follow them on Twitter to stay up to date, that's a perfect place for it because the developers are posting clips all the time, and they promise to have a Steam page up pretty soon. Last and certainly not least, we have Tako no Himitsu Ocean of Secrets. This is a GBA-inspired action RPG that has awesome pastel artwork. Now, throughout the game, you'll have 6 main party members that you could swap between, all with unique abilities. And its sort of unique mechanic is that you can recruit and train octopuses for not only combat, but for puzzles as well. Now, currently, they're in the middle of their Kickstarter campaign, and it's nearly funded, and by the time this video comes out, they might actually be fully funded. So if you want to help them get across the finish line and help them hit their stretch goals, I'll leave a link in the description. Now, if you somehow missed my last big ol' indie JRPG video and you want to know about some more indie JRPGs, be sure you check out this video right here.